at this particular time, if you take the 2-year period between the Biennale in 2013 and the one now, so much has transpired across the world that I think this Biennale, even if I didn't do it, seems to call for the very idea that at some level it needs to be disruptive. There is a sense in the exhibition that it's not necessarily about a kind of restless invention of new forms, but in bringing together what I would call a parliament of forms to deal with some of the complexities that art does best, and that is to deal with the junction in which imagination and reflection are tied together. The Three Filters Garden of Disorder uses the history and the site of the Giardini, the original setting of the Biennale from 1895, as a point of departure, as a way to sort of to think from then to the present, and really to say that the very idea of the garden is a sort of a kind of tranquil space, the etymology of that, almost like paradise. But here we are in a context in which we are not quite in paradise, but a place that really is governed by so much turmoil, and has been governed by so much turmoil over the 120 years of the existence of the Biennale.
On Saturday, thus his game is before 6 a.m., 15 minutes.
By reading all 3 volumes of Karl Marx, Das Kapital, live, every single day, relentlessly, for 177 days until we finish the entire 3 volumes. It is not a very exciting text to just sit down and listen to and enjoy.
The less time spent in work, the more of that time has to be turned into surplus labor time.
But as you listen to it, the very idea of the human voice as a vessel for communicating some of these, abstruse theories, becomes captivating. But in a sense, I wanted to say that not every moment in the Biennale need to be electric. And the reading of Das Kapital was an attempt to inject a note of sobriety to the exhibition. It does inject a political thread, but I think we do know that Marx's analysis in Das Kapital was both an economic analysis and a social analysis as well. And therefore, capital is the great drama of our age. And I can see the way that artists and filmmakers and intellectuals have taken this subject as an ongoing topic of reflection. And it goes all the way through the exhibition, through scores, through songs, through performances, and through literature. And I think by bringing all these different things into the arena, which is a special space constructed for the reading of Das Kapital, it gives us an opportunity to annotate Das Kapital, to bring it from the past, from the 19th century to the present. There are incredible moments of beauty and power and palpable emotional moments in the exhibition. Of course, the exhibition in many ways was designed to be uncompromising. It's 2 entrances, both in the Giardini and in the Arsenale. We're deliberately set up to trip up the viewer. From Christian Boltanski's Coffin Man to Bruce Nauman and Abdel Abdesamad's Nymphias, Bruce Nauman's Neons, to Fabio Mari's The End, to Glenn Ligon's Blues, Blood, Bruise, to Oscar Murillo's play on Black and Blue, with the indigo staining the dark, black, dense black canvases hanging like the flayed skin of Macias. So these are all deliberate curatorial choices. To make an exhibition, to curate, is really you have to tell a story, but you have to tell a story powerful enough in which the works can carry you through the exhibition. But I didn't make any promise that it will only, that it will only be beautiful. But I didn't set out to make only an exhibition that is gloomy. I think there are moments where, there's kind of a darkening of the, shall we say, the clouds of the exhibition. But there are many moments of lightness when you step up that first gallery in the Arsenale with Bruce Nauman and Adela Abdel-Samet's machetes or cutlasses or whatever we may call them. Then you enter this really long gallery with Laurent Casadilla's reinterpretation of Haydn's The Creation, a moving 30-minute oratorio. Fantastic, reinterpreted by Vox Nova, this contemporary music group from Rome. And then you see Terry Atkins, muffled drums, a play on silence, muffled drums, divine mute, these plugged moments of sound. I mean, I think there are really quite a number of moments that are just simply, for me, as a viewer, if I kind of take myself away from being the curator of the exhibition and purely as a visitor, I think the works are just simply incredible. Those that tower of drums rising 9 meters high uses the architectural majesty of the space to full advantage. And everything I've heard from the public has been completely the obverse of what the critics have said. But I do understand, because the exhibition was made to be challenging on certain levels in terms of its, attempt to sort of signal some dark portents that loom across, the global horizon. Well, I think in the last few years, we've had to deal with the fact that certain ideas within the field of contemporary art, have been obscured by the more celebratory, economically empowering, commoditization of art. And I take no moral position against that. But it doesn't seem to me that that's the purpose of an exhibition like Venice Biennale. The Venice Biennale and Art Fest cannot be the same. And therefore, it was my own critical obligation to set this exhibition far apart from the commodity sector of the art system. I want to set it apart in order to draw a clear contrast between what an exhibition can do as a place of analysis, as a place of, thinking. There's also viewing pleasure. I mean, there are rooms that I'll enter into and I just stand there mesmerized, looking at Casanhola's film Farah Farah shot in Kinshasa of two musicians, competition between two musicians with another musician, Papa Wemba, as a referee. And Papa Wemba talks about Sembene, this idea of music, the soul of music in the Congo. And he said that the battle will be fought with only music, pure and true. Those things are really deeply meaningful, and I think that one of the things that I've learned from the exhibition is that many colleagues are also deeply interested in, many of the works that we've been able to show. I'm a curator who is not constrained or bound to what I would call the received habits of the art system. Because I was born in Nigeria, because I come from Africa, a continent with huge deficits in the minds of many people in the world, but a continent that also has huge possibilities, that is currently living many transformative moments that sometimes are obscured by the drama on the high seas that we see. I feel like I have a completely different responsibility than a curator born in Germany or France, or even a curator born in the United States. And I carry both my own intellectual biography and my emotional geography into the exhibitions that I make. I am interested in what's happening in the Middle East because I've worked there. I know many artists there. I'm interested in what's going on in Africa because I work there. I know many artists there. I've traveled extensively there. Same in Asia. I've gained enormously from the opportunity to work with artists coming from such far-flung places across the world. I think that one of the things that makes Venice Biennale for me quite interesting is that its anachronism is actually its strength. That is actually its vitality. Because what it says is that it kind of unsettles the kind of the monolithic view we have about identity. If you look over the last 120 years, how the national pavilions have evolved, there are nations which didn't even exist like 20 years ago that now exist. And so it's been a ground for this constant unfolding of ideas about nationality. And some of them are, deeply marked by tragedy, whether it's in the Ukraine, for example, or to look at Iraq, for example, Syria, all these places with pavilions this year. The fact that there is Scotland and Wales with their own, not quite national pavilions, but quasi-pavilions here, underscoring, and also Catalonia, Macau, Hong Kong, underscoring the instability already of the national frontier. The nation as such is not one cohesive thing, but is always and constantly unbounded by, new desires for potential nations to come. Scotland didn't make it in their referendum. Catalan had its referendum somehow abrogated. And so we can see how this anachronism of the Biennale itself now gives us an incredible, volatile picture of the world. It's very interesting.